Welcome back to CabSat TV, right down here in Hall 1 for CabSat 2015. It's good to be back, and very pleased to be joined now by Martyn Suker, the Director of Production Innovation for ITV. That's a great title, and what I'm glad I've got right now. But explain what that job role entails.
Okay, I'm still trying to work that out myself part of the time, but yeah, it's a strategic and an operational role really that operates across all our genre labels within ITV studios in the UK. So that's across factual, entertainment, drama, and so on. Basically what I do is I set our digital strategy, a lot of the policies, standards and guidelines that we work to within production around our processes, our workflows, that sort of thing, and then provide operational support and advice into the productions once they're actually making their production around sort of how to adhere to best practice, make sure that those workflows are working throughout the process and so on, and that basically they're doing the best they can such that it frees them up to concentrate on making great content.
And last year at CabSat we were talking very much about content being king, and clearly that is continuing despite the fact that the various platforms are gaining traction, you know, IPTV and all the other different multi-platforms. Your role in that with ITV is to make sure that the content works across every platform.
Yeah, I mean, you can never be sure how content is going to work and whether it's going to work on all platforms, because obviously the drivers for those sorts of things are going to be different. What we want to do though is we want to make that process as efficient as possible. So when we go to exploit it on those other platforms, what we don't have to do is start again. Quite often in organisations what we find is that the digital side of things, the multi-platform, is sort of tacked on afterwards. So what we want to do is we want to bring that in right up the front end of the production process and say right from the beginning, okay, we think that there is exploitation potential here on this platform, it may go to that platform, it may actually go onto mobile, whatever it is. And we want to be able to make sure that not only the media that we deliver, but also the data that we deliver that with that media means that they've got a head start in getting there when they pick that up and take it forward to delivery on those other platforms.
And your session today covered that and a lot of other things as well. Talk us through that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, what I was doing was sort of painting a picture of the way that ITV is put together. You know, what we do. You know, we are a broadcaster, an integrated broadcaster and production company. So we're in quite a unique position to be able to not only make stuff, but actually push that out and distribute that as well. And then what I was doing was sort of talking about the way that our strategy is being put together to make sure that not only are we creatively dynamic, but also we're a lean and fit organisation, that we can actually exploit our content, not only within the UK, but internationally, and also exploit it on those different platforms across different territories as well.
Certainly the ITV player in the UK, it's at the front, it's not another runner, it is at the front, it's very innovative. And ITV in the past, let's be fair, has had some issues, but at the moment it's a fantastic business. Profits are up, and that's all down to this multi-platform being given some direction and control.
Yeah, we had a new CEO come in a few years ago who put in place this strategy, which was basically to say, let's not rely solely on our revenue from the broadcast linear streams. Those are still very important, and certainly a strong free-to-air service is still very, very key to our strategy and our content delivery. But what's also important is that we generate revenue from other areas. So we look at those other multi-platform deliveries. So for example, last year we launched ITV Encore, which is classic drama serials. It's a paid-for service available on the Sky platform, which was a new venture for ITV. But it's one of those ways of diversifying revenue. And also what we've been doing is acquiring other companies. So ITV Studios is now the largest non-scripted production company in the US, with acquisitions like High Noon, Gurney, Dega and so on. So what we're doing really is sort of growing out that sort of potential for distribution, for formats. I mean, if you look at some of our dramas, things like Selfridge, Mr. Selfridge, Agatha Christie's Poirot, a lot of those have gone to 170, 150 countries. Formats, for example, such as Come Dine With Me.
Yes.
That's now in 36 territories across the world. So it is about sort of looking at those other possibilities. And that's both on free-to-air services in other countries, but also on those pay platforms as well.
And taking that ITV experience and the success story that it is, what would your advice be to broadcasters in this region when attacking multi-platform?
Okay, so know what you're doing. So it's about sort of saying, okay, what is it we're going to go for? What's our USP? How are we going to differentiate ourselves from other organisations? And actually, it's one of those things where quality content is always going to work. Though I will put a caveat on that, and that is you can never be certain that something is going to sort of go down well with an audience. There is no magic formula here. And actually, because we're in an ever-changing business, and let's face it, the rate of change in this industry is faster than it's ever been. Business models, the type of content that people will consume, at one time, it's really quite static. You could build a business model that you would have in place maybe for 3, maybe even 5 years. You're lucky if that lasts now for 1 or 2 years because of the way that things change, because of the way audience demand changes and so on. So you have to keep fresh, you have to keep relevant.
Good advice. Martyn, thank you for your time. Thanks
You're
for the
welcome.
insight.
Pleasure.